Hi guys, Sandy from the Paddle School here. In this video today we're going to do a racket review, but this time between two different brands, the top model in each of those brands. So we've got the Head Graphene 360 Alpha Pro, which is the Sanyo Gutierrez racket, and we've got the Babolat Viper Carbon, which is the LeBron racket. So in this video we're going to compare the two of these. If you're enjoying these racket reviews and you've either bought a racket recently or you're going to buy a racket recently and you find this useful, please click subscribe. So to begin with, we're going to talk about the head racket. This is about 372 grams and it actually feels a nice weight. It's a nice balance. It's kind of midway up, so it's not too head heavy, and it's got a really nice kind of feel to it. I quite like the feel of this racket. The head rackets normally for me I find quite hard, and again this one is quite hard, but I'm looking forward to hitting some balls to see. So hitting from the back of the court with this racket, I found it quite a forgiving racket. I like the control you get from the back of the court. It is hard, but actually at the same time you get kind of nice responsiveness, nice control off that from the back of the court. I felt like I could kind of hit down to the feet quite comfortably, but also pick the speed up. There's a good bit of power in this. And like I said, it's quite forgiving. It says there's a bigger sweet spot, which you can kind of feel when you're using the racket. So when it came to the net, I felt like there was good power on the volleys and the smashes. Like you could generate a lot of speed on that ball, and it was a good attacking racket, but probably not quite as much kind of control and soft touch as I would like. Personally, I prefer a bit of a softer racket, which gives a little bit more touch and control. But generally speaking, this is a good racket. I liked both from the back of the court and the front of the court. The power for me, I would say, was about a kind of 7 or 8 out of 10, so it was good power on the smashes, but yeah, that would be my review on this racket. I did like it a lot. So looking at the Babolat, the Viper Carbon now, and here you've got a kind of slightly rougher surface. It's not as rough as you get with some rackets, but it's just slightly raised. Here this is completely smooth. I forgot to mention that on the first one. And this racket, again, is hard. I would even say harder than the head racket. And even though it's lighter at 362 grams, the balance is more in the head of the racket. So if I were to pick the two rackets up, I actually feel like this racket is maybe a little bit heavier than that racket, but it's actually lighter. It's just that the balance makes it a little bit more head heavy. And so I'm going to test this racket now, hitting from the back. So hitting with this racket from the back now, I didn't feel as much control as I thought I would from the back of the court. It was a little bit kind of hard. It's not jarring, but it is almost at that point where you kind of feel like you've got to do a lot of work to get the power with this racket. And from the back of the court, that just meant it was a little bit more difficult to kind of hit down to the feet. It was easy to pick up the power, but you really do feel like you're using your kind of arm and body to do that. And then, having said that, when I went to volley, I actually really like this for a volley. You get good power, and particularly on the smashes. The weight is obviously in the head of the racket, and so when you're hitting the aggressive smashes, whether it's the Vibra or the topspin smash, you get a lot of power from this racket. I'd say power, this is really a kind of 9 out of 10. But again, the control on the volleys is probably not where I would choose. It's a hard racket. Both of these are quite hard rackets, but this one was good. I would say is good if you like to hit aggressive smashes and you hit hard, and also you don't have any kind of elbow or shoulder issues. These are both, I would say, advanced rackets, so players kind of advanced and above to use these rackets, because they're both quite hard rackets, but they do have nice power and good feel on them. So many players ask us what they should be using to improve a specific part of their game, or if they have a strength, they want a racket that suits that strength. Now, I think that you want to find a racket that suits your game style, but also it's more important that you're comfortable with that racket. It doesn't cause you any pain with your elbow and your shoulder, and also you get good feeling on that racket for your game. Like I said, it's a preference. So these rackets, I would say that this racket, you get general all-round responsiveness around the back of the court. It's hard, so you do get power, but at the same time, there is a little bit of kind of softness to it. So I would say that's a general all-round racket. I say the Babolat is definitely a harder racket with more power. So if you've got big smashes and you want to really go for that smash and get a lot of power, then that would probably be my choice for this racket. Now, if you want to see all of our racket reviews, I'm going to put them on this side of the screen, and here we go through all the different brands.